Hey, good day everybody! Happy New Year! Hey, thanks for tuning back into my channel. It's greatly appreciated. I'm sorry about the video quality today, and my kids have misplaced my other camera that I typically use, so I'm using my older one, which isn't high definition, so I'm sorry about that, but I wanted to get this out as a word of frustration and maybe for those to spread on. So if you love your Second Amendment rights, this is something you need to get on board with. Very recently, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms has, should we say, changed the classification of a couple different firearms. And this is a direct result of the Trump administration pushing the Department of Justice to push the ATF to ban the bump stocks. And so now it's as if the ATF is getting open rein on changing classification of your gun rights or guns you may possess. So what is taking place is something that I believe is a roundabout way to confiscate and get rid of your firearms. And I'm seriously waiting to see what they're going to ban next. So prime example is Franklin Armory's firearm known as a Reformation. Basically a short-barreled AR-15, but instead of having rifling in the traditional spiral notation, it's rifling that are straight lands and grooves. So when the bullet goes out, it doesn't spiral, and in effect the bullet goes out and it will tumble. Thus, its accuracy at range is all over the board and isn't as accurate of a firearm. But it was a way to get past some of the firearm regulations that were currently set for what would be considered a short-barreled rifle. And considering it had straight lands and grooves, it was not considered a short-barreled rifle. These rifles went into production, they were sold, and with this change of classification, the ATF has declared it that it's not an NFA item, and therefore it falls in the category of a short-barreled shotgun. The problem is it doesn't actually use shotgun shells, so how can it be classified as a short-barreled shotgun? So in the meantime, the ATF apparently is going to decide what kind of classification this firearm can get. So what's that leave the American people? If you own one currently, you're currently fine, but you cannot transfer that firearm in a sale to someone else. Just as well as the FFL holder, the Federal Firearms License holder, or gun dealer could no longer transfer the sale of that firearm to somebody like myself who doesn't own one. And so this classification is basically, in a way, put a ban on the sale of these firearms. It's just ridiculous. So the change of the classification of Franklin Armory's Reformation, there's also, looks like, you can no longer transport that weapon across state lines. Because they've classified it as a short-barreled shotgun, you cannot transport short-barreled shotguns across state lines without getting permission and authorization from apparently the Attorney General. So there you have it. You can't take your Reformation and go to a shooting match over in Washington, since I live here in Oregon. Or I can't take it to Idaho, I can't go to Nevada, and I couldn't go down to Arizona, or you get the picture. I have to stay within Oregon with my Reformation if I was able to own one, which I don't, and now I can't go buy one because of the change of classification. So, the nightmare of the ATF. And then the second one is the FosTech Origin SBV. I believe is what it's called. And what the ATF has done with this one now, as this shotgun was more or less developed to fit in the category of like the, I believe it's the Mossberg Shockwave. It's a small shotgun that has no stock. It's just a hand grip. Pump action. I can't remember how many rounds it has, and it basically has a short barrel. So it doesn't fit the classification of a shotgun, and nor does it fit the classification of a short barreled shotgun, under which you have to have a Form 3 filled out and all this special classification done and authorization and approval before you're able to take possession of the short-barreled shotgun. And so what they've done with this one is they have now classified this shotgun, which, by the way, sold for around $2,000 and went out into the market and was being sold. And keep in mind, in order to sell firearms, these firearms had to be approved in a way for sale by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And now they're saying they didn't give that authorization for these things to be sold, and they've classified them as a short-barreled shotgun and a destructive device. And so that means now you have to have a Form 3, I believe is what it is, filled out and sent into the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and then they will send back some sort of authorization for you in order to proceed with the purchase of that short-barreled shotgun. So it doesn't necessarily ban sales of them. You could go out and buy one after you get authorization from the ATF and get your form back and you've sent in your fingerprints and this whole rigmarole in order to take possession of one. But what this new classification and what they've done by declaring it a short-barreled shotgun and a destructive device is they've now made everybody who owns one a felon. And they are requiring it to be destroyed. In fact, they sent out pictures to show how you destroy the receiver of the shotgun. And then FosTech has put a recall for you to send it back in. And I would imagine what FosTech's going to do is put a long barrel in it, so then it would be considered a long-barreled shotgun. The problem is this is the ATF, what I would consider overstepping bounds in changing classifications to ban certain weapons that they don't want the American citizens to possess. But what troubles me is these things went into sale, originally authorized by the ATF, goes into sales, and now you are instantly a felon owning and possessing one currently if you've spent $2,000. And the whole thing that I have with this is the ATF is demanding you to destroy this firearm, but they are not going to give you your $2,000 you spent on it. And I believe personally this is now illegal and unconstitutional by every way, shape, or forms. But unfortunately, just like the FFA and the RC community, here the ATF, one more time, or the BATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, is running rampant and making up rules and laws as they go along. And in my opinion, this is wrong. And this is the swamp running rampant, changing and doing things they don't want you to do, just like the FFA is now trying to make RC owners of drones and RC airplanes put, in effect, electronic transponders into the vehicles in order for them to show up on radar or whatnot, just like a regular commercial airliner or private plane has. And that's just ridiculous. So again, here we got a bureaucracy running rampant, setting rules and regulations for the United States outside of the way laws are supposed to be done through our Congress, Senate, approved by the President of the United States. So here we got a bunch of unelected officials setting standards on what is legal and what is not legal in the United States. And in effect, the land of the free, the home of the brave is one more time losing the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's ridiculous, and I don't know how we can combat this other than to raise Cain against the Trump administration and trying to get the Department of Justice to rein in the ATF. Maybe even getting the Congress and the Senate, which would be a nightmare to do it in the first place, to pass some sort of law that restricts the FFA or any of these alphabet agencies from making laws and regulations and ordinances as they wish and basically establishing them as law. So I guess at this point, contact your senators, contact your representatives, contact the president, do what you can, because this is a ATF going nuts. And I was afraid this was going to happen when Trump pushed the banning of the bump stocks, because this just in effect opened up the doors for the ATF to do whatever they want and change classifications, and then make American people instant felons by changing the classification of what was once a legally owned weapon and now making it illegal. So there you have it. There's my gripe for the day and my first gripe for 2020. I can only hope things will get better, but it's hard to say. And currently, the president does not have my vote for 2020, and at this point, I don't know who to vote for. But I can't vote for somebody who is taking away our Second Amendment as we know it. So there we go. Who would I vote for in the future? I don't know at this point. Not sure who I'd give my vote to. I definitely don't want the wacko Democrats, but at this point I also don't want to give it to Trump, because he's allowing these things to take place within the United States and in effect destroying our ability to go fly our model aircraft as we used to be able to, and our rights to own firearms as we once were able to. So, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you like my video. Again, I'm sorry for the grainy footage. I've been looking for my camera. Have no idea where my kids have put it. So, there you have it. Thanks again for tuning in. Please hit like and subscribe if you would. It's greatly appreciated. God bless and Happy New Year.